What do you think of Mr. Trudeau?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, under investigation again for violating ethics rules, testified in his own defense.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is dealing with a growing scandal tonight about a major company involved in a corruption investigation.
Justin Trudeau continued to face questions about a 2.5-year-old scandal on the campaign trail today.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was interrupted mid-sentence during his opening remarks.
Justin Trudeau still knows how to work a crowd, but his days as politics Mr. Nice Guy may be gone for good.
So I think he's an egomaniac. And I think everything he does comes back to his egomania. Even his political ideology, if you really think about this expansionistic role of the state, it never comes back to serving an individual objective other than to make him more powerful or his legacy more grand. So let me give you a few examples. So he slashed the amount you can put into a tax-free savings account. But then he simultaneously increased the amount you were forced to pay into the state savings plan. He killed multiple pipelines. Then he invested state money in a pipeline. He attacked parents' ability to take care of their own children by removing tax fairness for families with a stay-at-home parent. And then he brings in a government program to replace it. So what you're seeing there is you say, well, this sounds like these are utterly inconsistent positions. And the answer, no, they're not. They're all very consistent. In all cases, what he does is takes away the ability of business or individuals or families to do things for themselves, and it requires they do things through him and through the state. And his ideology is always about creating a pretext in order to justify the state garnering more control over every aspect of your life, how you raise your kids, how your business functions, what you see and say on the intranet. He believes the state has to be everywhere always, but that's because, as King Louis would say, l'État c'est moi. The state is him.
Well, that's okay. So I got a couple of things to throw at that. The first is, I think it's a very dangerous thing to attack the man rather than the ideas. But you're making, as a rule of thumb, but you're making a case that in this case, that can't be done because there is a personality trait that is uniting diverse policy decisions that isn't ideational or ideological even. It is in fact personal. And so my sense of Trudeau, initially, I was very upset with his decision to run for prime minister because I thought, well, you don't know anything. And you're attractive and you can behave well in public and you have a charming facade. But you don't know anything in any real sense, and there's no indication that you do. You're not particularly well educated and you're not particularly accomplished, and this is actually a hard job. But worse than that, the only reason you even have the vaguest possibility of succeeding is because you have the same last name as your father. And then he ran, and I thought, well, how do you justify that to yourself? Because the gap of knowledge must have been painfully evident to him. And the fact that the Trudeau name, you could say, well, the Liberal Party came to me, that's his justification. They came to me and there wasn't another person that could win on the Liberal side and better a Trudeau Liberal, even if it's a consequence of family name, than any damn Conservative, let's say. But I still saw it as a manifestation of a really profound narcissism. I think a reasonable person would have said, I'm not prepared for this, certainly not yet. And I'm not the man that there needs to be in this position. And so, I don't know what you think about those musings, but that's how I looked at Trudeau. And I certainly haven't seen anything in the preceding years that has disabused me of any of those notions.
I think there's some truth in that. His victory was definitely not a meritocratic one, and he was probably the least vetted prime ministerial candidate in our history. The media just glossed over so much of his life to go straight to help him and protect him. It was almost like they built a protective cocoon around him, and like he had dressed up in grotesque racist costumes so many times, he says, by his own claim, he can't remember them all. I mean, the average politician had done that once. It would have been exposed and that person would have been expelled from politics altogether. You know, but, you know, he had run as a middle-class champion, even that while he sheltered the millions he inherited from his grandfather in a tax-preferred trust fund. All these things would have been front and center in the public sphere had it been anyone other than a Trudeau. But he was protected by the media, who still protect him because he really is their candidate. He represents the political class and the establishment in Canada, those who profit off a big, bloated bureaucracy and regulatory state in the old Upper Canada aristocracy. Know that he will always deliver for them, and he has. He's delivered mightily for them. That's why they're doing so well, and that's why they'll fight tooth and nail to keep him there.